thinking of a question.
I don't think anybody's gonna know this.
I'm gonna put the mic toward you guys. You can go one answer at a
All
time.
right, you ready? Any of the kids? What does the CJ name? What does CJ stand for? Do you know what CJ stands for?
What does CJ stand for in CJ Stroud? No Google, no Google. Anything. CJ, what does the CJ stand for? Cincinnati, that's pretty good.
That's a good answer.
All right, we don't get an answer. That's a good answer.
Cornelius Jermaine. Cornelius Jermaine.
No. What does TJ and CJ Stroud stand for? This is for a rookie. The first name.
Chief Justice.
What's the answer, y'all?
Old Ridge, what's closest up?
That's close enough, right?
That's close enough. You got a CJ Stroud rookie. We got Will Levis. Will Levis. Look at that. That's a big one.
Day 5 of the National last night. Great trade night last night. Chad Ochocinco was on stage giving away some product. But this is the last day. And let's see what trouble we get into today. All right, we are at CGC's booth. I submitted some cards, some autograph cards for dual authentication. And we're getting them slabbed through CGC, our friends at CGC and JSA. And these are the 1986 Fleer basketball cards, which I do a lot. So let's take a look. Actually, take a look at that. This is how they come in the box. That's pretty nice right there. I like that they're kind of individually protected. And I'm going to do one by one. All right, this Calvin Nat, 1986. Look at that one. That one came back authentic. So I'll have to do some research on why that one just came back authentic instead of dual grade. We have another Calvin Nat. So this one came back an 810. Beautiful on the back. We have Wayne Cooper, a 7.5, 10. Really nice. We have a Purvis Short, 5.5, 9. There. We have Orlando Woolridge. This is a 5.8. This is actually a tough card, Orlando. They're kind of tough to find. A 5. I'll have to do some research on why this is a 5. I mean, I can see a little nick right there. But overall, I still think that's a beautiful card. And the last one, this is a very difficult card. Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson, I got a 7-10. This is a beautiful card for Steve Johnson. This is actually not Steve Johnson. This is Dave Greenwood. He hates signing this card, but he signed it. Beautiful job by CGC and JSA. Love how they look. We are here with Edward from Rapper Cards. And I think this is one of the greatest things about the National, because I know a lot of you can't attend. But when you hear about the National, you think about sports cards, and maybe that's the only thing you think about. But I think we've been doing a really good job this week of exposing people to just all the other collectibles art that is here. And this is one that is really cool. So what Edward's doing is these are rapper cards, and they're focused on the music industry. So Edward, welcome to the show. I'd love it.
How you guys doing?
I would love it if you could explain to the audience like what these are and what Rapper Cards is all about.
Sure. We started about a little bit over 4 years ago. We primarily based in Denver, Colorado. We are doing cards that are licensed trading cards for hip hop artists, not just rappers, but producers, DJs, breakdancers, graffiti artists, anyone that really has anything to do with hip hop, anything under the sun, every kind of subgenre of hip hop, anything to do with hip hop that celebrate kind of either a specific release or just the artist in general. They're numbered, like I said, limited edition, on card autos.
Let's talk about this one. I thought this one was pretty cool. This one's made of wood. So tell me what's going on with this one.
So sure.
Yeah.
So this is actually a one of one that's we're going to be giving away for Nationals. Is done by Ian Mackelson, excellent top sketch artist.
Yeah.
And it's of Rakim, who's basically perhaps the greatest rapper of all time, one of the most influential rappers of all time, basically responsible for what modern hip hop sounds like in terms of
Nice. And we're all obsessed with one-of-ones, right? Here are examples of one-of-ones and just art cards and pop culture cards in general. I mean, this is focused on music, but here's a great example of just some great stuff. This last one I definitely wanted you to show. So explain this, because you can see there, it looks like there's some writing in the middle there. What do we have going on there?
So we invented what we call a rhyme book card. We worked with his widow, Bernadette, to get basically a complete unreleased handwritten verse that she still had.
And one of the things I love about this is I think this is actually filling a void for the hobby. You don't see much of the kind of music cards, music kind of trading memorabilia. So, bravo for you for getting into this. I really think you're filling a void.
We're rapper_cards at Instagram, on Twitter, and
all right, awesome. Well, Edward, thanks for the time.
Absolutely.
Good luck in the future. All right, everybody, we are closing it down with Alex. We're going to go over just some of our thoughts on the week. It's been a wild ride.
Yes.
It's been crazy. All right, let's start with, I always like to start with kind of the bad before we talk about all the good, because there is a ton of good, and this isn't necessarily bad, but we have heard feedback around, traffic and what have you. I mean, my thought, Alex, and I want your thought, right? 100,000 people here,
Yes.
right? 100,000 people, like that is fantastic for the hobby, first of all. But you're going to have traffic. You're going to have logistical issues. Even in Vegas with 100,000 people, you're going to have issues. So, I mean, what were your thoughts around that?
Yeah, even though, the traffic was happening, individuals still did not seem like they were too upset once they're inside.
No,
the
they
show,
weren't.
right?
No.
The one way in is going to cause traffic.
Yeah.
The traffic light right down the road, train tracks right down the road, it's going to cause traffic.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think people adapted to it, using some resilience, adapted and overcame it by
Yes.
either coming early or coming later.
Yep.
Because guess what? This was still going to be here if you came 2 hours after it opened.
Right.
Period. So, I saw a lot of high spirits in the room. I mean, even as soon as they're walking through the doors, like you could be disgruntled. And next thing you know, it's like,
Yeah,
right?
the AC hits you. AC was good. I heard the AC was bad last year.
Yes.
It was a tough one last year, but this year AC was perfect. Environment felt great. I mean, yeah, when the places were packed, it got a little warm, but overall very comfortable in here.
Great.
All right, so let's talk about all the good things. What stood out to you this week?
One of the biggest things that stood out to me was, even though this is more of a sports convention, right? You didn't see a lot of non-sports stuff outside of a lot of the booths.
Yeah.
But the V-Friends booth was packed all the time. There
Every
was
day.
so many people around, and there was people that came to this show, got the VIP pass, all access pass, just for that booth. Didn't care about any other booth in the whole facility, just for that booth. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and I think part of it is Gary V really believes in it, right? He was here every day, every day, meeting with anybody who wanted to talk to him, signing autographs, whoever wanted to talk to him. And when you're starting a company, I mean, he's no fool. You're starting a company, you need to do that. You need to get out there. You need to pound the pavement, like they say. So, yeah, that was great. I was really shocked by how popular that was. I didn't realize it. So that definitely stood out. I've talked a lot about it, but I think they really made a name, or they really kind of made a wow factor this week with the Heritage booth, everything in there. To your point around kind of non-sport stuff, the Heritage booth was very much non-sport. I mean, there was definitely sections of sports, beautiful jerseys and bats and balls.
I grew up watching Power Rangers.
Yeah, Power Rangers, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, having those big figures right there with the costumes and stuff was incredible. It's nostalgia for people like that. That's why products like Pop Century from Leaf is so everyone loves it, because as soon as you open the box, like, I remember watching that. I remember this actor and everything else like that. So seeing that stuff just brings back memories and everything else. And that's what makes them so popular.
And this is what we need to do to grow the hobby, right? We're not going to grow the hobby 10x by forcing everybody to like sports. That's not going to happen. They're not going to collect we need to get into pop culture, which we're doing. Tons of Pokemon I saw. One interesting thing, I don't know if you did it, was at CGC, there was a contest where they gave you a bunch of slabs with no grades on them,
I didn't do that.
and you had to grade them. And then there was like a contest, and whoever won, I think, won some real slabs, like some nice ones. I thought that was kind of cool. So we did that. We challenged ourselves around, and I actually did terribly. I thought for sure I was going to get like at least an 80%.
So
I got a lot less than
stick with your
80%.
day job.
Yeah.
Odds up, you're greater.
Absolutely stick with the day job. Anything else other than V Friends that stood out to you?
The trade nights.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it was gone from one official trade night to multiple nights, and the team, eBay, you know, David Marino running that, did outstanding job.
Yes.
Constantly engaged people up on the stage, tons of giveaways, over $10,000 of giveaways per night.
Wow, I didn't know that.
30K total, over
Wow.
30K total, 10K per night. You know, they had some of the ambassadors and some big companies, you know, running the trade nights every night, like being the hosts and everything. And that place was, I mean, it's packed down here during the day.
All day, yeah. It's trade day too. It's not just trade night.
Eve of trade night, and everyone's down there, you know, trading. I made a couple videos about showing, like, hey, you have a VIP pass. There's so many people didn't know this was down here. I'm like, you got your VIP passes down here when you got here. What do you think this was? This is for the super deluxe people?
Yeah.
No. And the fact that so many people, it had to have been hundreds down here trading. If not,
no, there were thousands. There were thousands
trading
down here
during
trading.
the day.
Yeah.
While thousands were above them on the show floor. It's wild, this stuff. And the thing I talk to a lot of people is, this is a fraction of the hobby that's here. A lot of people can't make it.
No, of course.
Like not even a % of the hobby that's in this.
Absolutely.
Just imagine all those individuals in one spot. So hopefully a lot of the stuff that, you know, I put out, other ambassadors that you talk about and stuff, constantly, you know, starts bringing more and more people to be like, okay, I'm getting the FOMO, they call it, right? I need to be there and stuff. And they start planning for Chicago, you know, for next year.
Right. One last thing that stood out to me, and I think you're gonna love this, is the TriStar Autograph Pavilion. We spent a little bit of time over there with all the athletes and celebrities, and I know you actually have a cool story about meeting someone very special. Who did you meet?
I got to meet my childhood idol, Dan Marino.
Awesome.
It's bucket list, hashtag bucket list. That's right there. Top of the line. I got to go in the back with him and everything else like that. Shout out to Ray Schulte for hooking that up with me, because, you know, that means a lot. You know, I took on this role as an ambassador for the national, you know, and I took it to heart. You know, I wanted to get as much content out there for individuals to be prepared to enjoy, to understand why you're here, you know, and individuals that can't make it, for them to live through our eyes. So hopefully I did enough of that. And
you did do enough. You were put to work, and you worked. You worked a lot this week. You were all over the place. So shout out to you. All right, so let's close it down, everybody. That is the 2024 National. We will see you at the 2025 National in Chicago. Alex, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they reach out to you?
They can get me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Army ATC 22, or call me Alex.
All right, great. All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.